I was going to start off with having a conversation, but I suppose the thing I should highlight is even coming to conference has highlighted how difficult it is for anybody with a disability or from a different background. 3 months ago, I booked my registration, phoned up, booked my hotel room, made sure I had all my needs were made aware of. To turn up and find that no, there isn't an accessible room for me, that the passes that were supposed to be left for you at the reception aren't there. And then so all of a sudden, all of these things that a normal able-bodied person would never actually experience, even though you've done your very best and you've gone round and you've tried to make sure that everything will be in place for you, doesn't happen. It isn't there. So day-to-day life can be very difficult for a disabled person, even in the 21st century Britain. Progress has been made in some areas. I mean, you've got things such as disabled parking bays, which obviously help you reduce the amount of you need to walk to get to somewhere. Shops are a lot more accessible now than they ever have been in the past, although there's still more work to go. But the Employment and Enterprise Reform Bill basically threatens a lot of this. If the bill's implemented, the Human Rights Commission will no longer be obliged to give favourable treatment to anybody with a disability or from a different social or ethnic background. And all the steps that we've made and fought for so hard over the years are just going to be all of a sudden wiped out. So the next time sort of a minister goes looking for cuts and they look at things like the blue badge system, there won't be any organisation in government to turn around and say, hang on, no, there's a reason that that's there and that shouldn't be touched. You look at the possibility that those disabled bays could just disappear overnight, thousands of them, because nobody's there to hold anybody to account. If you turn to things like education, it doesn't get much better. At present, 1 in 4 disabled people have no educational qualifications. But if the bill is successful, there's an even real chance that you'll see that number fall and grow. The attempts to improve things for disabled people in education won't be required. So making allowances for somebody due to a disability or due to their cultural needs will no longer be there. And it doesn't really end there. The changes proposed in the ER bill will remove the current obligation to try and eliminate prejudice and hate crime that disabled people face. I'm fortunate enough to experience it myself. Simple things like you park in a disabled bay, you get out and I'm very lucky, if you like. I have a disability that people can clearly see. A lot of people have disabilities that aren't visible, but still require the need to park in a disabled bay. But somebody has turned around and told me, why don't you just get up and walk? You don't need that chair. You're just after the money, the benefits. And you're like, you can't believe that somebody would actually say it to you. I have friends that have been spat at for no other reason than because somebody that's been walking by feels that they must be getting an awful lot within from the welfare state system, and that it's unjust. So that's only going to increase if allowances aren't insisted upon to make life easier for people from disability groups and ethnic minorities. But most worryingly, there's the spate of a massive 40% of disabled people have been spat on and physically abused in the street. I mean, 40% is a significant number for no other reason than you have something that has inflicted you that makes your life so much more difficult. People can't understand the trouble it took just to get to this room. If it hadn't been for the fact that Kelly Marie had come and got me, I would never have got here, because to actually get here was, you go round the houses and down the road. I felt like I'd nearly travelled back to London by the time I got round the hotel to get here. So now perhaps you can understand why the LDDA and EMLD are so alarmed with regards to what's actually taking place and the prospect of this bill. It's very important to see that we see changes happen, and that no other organisation will be obliged to ensure that these changes happen if we don't stand up and fight to keep this within the requirement of the Commission. I apologise, this was my first public speech, and it's not probably my greatest. But another example, I suppose personal examples are the best way that I can highlight the difficulties. Unfortunately, I was delayed this evening because on his way home from school, my 13-year-old was shot at by a BB gun. Now, the police were very nice and they came out, but they wanted us to go to take him up to the police station, and I turned up to the police station and I had no way of getting in. The police station wasn't even accessible. So they've asked us to travel all the way to the police station. Not a problem, it's important. But you get there, and hang on, I'm excluded because my legs don't work. And that's what is going to be allowed to increase. People are going to be excluded, either due to their disability or because of their ethnic background and the disadvantages that they've experienced. I've decided to go back into education because I can no longer do the job that I did. I was a housing manager for people with learning difficulties, and I then went on to be an antisocial behaviour officer. And unfortunately, my days of running down the street after 13 and 14-year-old little fellas that are terrorising their estate are a bit gone. So the difficulties in going back to university as a disabled student. There are such things as a disabled student's living allowance, which are meant to be there to help you and put things in place to make it easier. And some universities do have very good accessibility.